Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. You on here. I'm not going to answer comments. I'm not going to say hello tonight. It's too many people, too much to say. I don't want to get distracted. Now, the first thing I want to say is this is what this is all about. Nicola Bulley. Remember Nicola? Not like who found the body, who didn't find the body, who saw the body but didn't talk about it for 8 months, who was told about the body but didn't die for it. This case is about Nicola, a 45-year-old woman who drowned mysteriously, whatever they might say, mysteriously. We still don't know the full story of what happened to Nicola. This is all about Nicola. It's not about Peter Faulding. It's not about Lancashire Police. It's not about me. It's not about you and what you think. So the first thing I want to say to people is, so today, after I did my the live this morning, where I dared to criticise, you do? Oh yeah, he saw actually. He's now saying, sort of 7 months later, that he actually saw Nicola Bulley's body, but he didn't say anything about it. He then went on to do interview after interview, saying that she definitely was not in the river. Now, he didn't have to say that. If he wasn't, sure, or he thought that he told the police, he just didn't have to say anything. Now, if you are a person who thinks that Peter Faulding is some perfect angel and you cannot accept debate about this, now today I've been accused of making a disgusting comment. I queried the fact that how would Peter feel if that was his daughter who had been, he's now saying that he saw that she was there, but nobody found her for another 2 weeks. So they had to go through 2 weeks more of hell. But he's now saying, oh, he knew it, definitely her. That's my criticism of Peter Faulding. Now, anyone who watches my channel will know I have supported Peter Faulding all the way through. I have always said, I believe him. I trust him more than the police. If he says she wasn't there, she wasn't there. And now suddenly he's turning around and saying, oh, actually, she was there. Well, I think that was made by the actual YouTuber who did that interview. And something I'd just like to say, and this will be the last time that I will mention that YouTuber at all. This is a YouTuber that in the beginning compared Paul Ansell's behaviour, body language, to that of Chris Watts. So do you still think that? So is it still that, or have you changed your mind now? So the other thing I want to say is please don't mention other channels, because I will just, I've said that a million times. This is my channel. If you don't like my channel, it's your choice. In my channel, we discuss things, we give opinions, we disagree with each other. We don't agree with everything that we say. People don't have to agree with me, but they have to be respectful. Like I have to be respectful to people. I'm not going to go and call someone, what was I called? Dumb. I'm dumb if I believe that. I'm not dumb. Maybe you're dumb if you do believe it. Nobody's dumb. Everybody's got an opinion. And what we all have to remember is the person at the centre of it is Nicola. What happened to Nicola? Was there foul play? And if there was foul play, who did it? It's not about whether Peter Faulding was right or whether the Lancashire police were right. It's not about that at all. It's about Nicola. And if people can't accept that and accept different opinions, you are on channel, because anyone can have an opinion on my channel about anything, as long as they're not nasty, not to me, not to other people who are chatting on the channel. That's the only condition, and don't mention other channels. And that's it. Okay. So We have to remember this is about Nicola. Something happened to Nicola. We don't know what it is. Now we're finding out that maybe she was there all the time. Whereas most of the conspiracy theories, etc., have arisen because of the fact Peter Faulding, love him or hate him, and I have respect for him. I'm just querying things. It's not a bad thing to query things. You can't just accept everything somebody tells you, even what I'm telling you. To accept what I'm saying, go and watch all the other videos. Make your own mind up, and if you come to a different conclusion to me, good. But don't tell me what to think either. So the reason that the reason that there were so many conspiracy theories about this case, or have been, is because Peter has said categorically from day one, or from when he searched the river, definitely not in the river. And I'm going to show you some videos where he actually said that. So don't forget, if I have a criticism of Peter Faulding, I never have for all this time. The only reason I'm not happy with him now is because I remember all these videos. I've shown these videos to prove why Lancashire police are wrong. I've shown video after video of Peter Faulding saying she's definitely not in the river in his tan. Oh, that's the other thing I'd like to ask. When was that interview made? When? You know, it seems to me that interview probably was made quite a long time ago in preparation for this. Wasn't made, he's got a tan, so he hasn't got, you know. Please tell me, when was that video made? I think it was made quite a long time ago. I don't like it. It all stinks. It's staged. It was released at the same time as the report that's been released today. And that's my criticism. Before I show you, before I show you the videos of Peter saying she's definitely not in the river and making everyone think, oh, well, Peter Faulding, because we all respect Peter Faulding, because he's saying she's not in the river, we thought, well, she cannot be in the river. But we can't forget this. Now, I wanted to point out something, because I missed this in the actual press conference that we watched, and somebody told me about it, and I'd missed it as it came to the end. So let's just have a look at this. So sorry, Nicola, I'm going to take you off for a moment. Okay, so we watched the press. We're not going to watch the press conference again tonight. I will watch it in the future in another live or with my members or whatever. But tonight we're going to more read the report rather than watch it. The full press conference is in my earlier live if you want to watch it with commentary, or if you want to watch it just on its own, it's on the Telegraph commentary.
Transparency, even when things have gone wrong. Now, some of you will recall the comments I made in the official police response to the Hillsborough tragedy, where I apologised along with.
Are you worried that this investigation has done reputational damage to Lancashire police, people who live here, and how do you get that confidence back?
Quite an interesting question. I don't think it resulted in a complete breakdown in public confidence, actually.
Sorry.
He showed you his sonar images. What's your response to that?
It's so annoying.
So the area around the bench was searched 3 times.
So the area around the bench was searched 3 times.
And the 3rd time was in response, direct response to the report of his suspicions. We have shown as part of the review the images of Peter Faulding's images from that area at that time.
Now they say they've shown the images of that during the review. I'm not saying they have, I'm just saying what he's saying.
And 2 independent experts have said that it's unlikely that that was a body. So I don't think there's credibility to that claim.
Unlikely, but you can't.
Well,
I mean, he doesn't say definitely. I'll accept that. He says, I don't think there's credibility to that claim.
highly unlikely. It's in the report.
Are there any other questions?
I mean, I do think it's important to clarify this. The area was searched immediately after that report, and there was nothing there. I think that's really important. We have to deal with the facts here.
We've got one online.
One online.
So you have to decide what you believe or not. You know, I don't know. I haven't seen the sonar images. I'm not a sonar expert anyway. You know, you have to decide. My query is why it's only come out now. Now, the other thing that I'm not going to try and find it, because if I try and find it, it could be ages fiddling about trying to find it. But when they were talking about transparency, he also said, we're determined to have transparency in murder enquiries, because I don't know what you think. In my eyes, there was some foul play. So this is all clouding. You know, the actual issue is what happened to Nicola. All this is like a distraction to what actually happened to Nicola. Do any of these people, even Peter, because he did, you know, does he even really care about what happened to Nicola? If Nicola was my daughter, and I just found out that back in February, he could have saved me 2 weeks of worrying about what had happened to my daughter by telling me the truth, I would be fuming. And I think that was my point that I was trying to make. I think he would be fuming as well if it was one of his relatives or his daughter. So, you know, if people don't appreciate the fact that that's how it is, you know, I'm sorry, that's, in my opinion, was not a good thing that Peter did. So that's what I think. What else did I want to show you? Oh God, I've got so many things to show, to be honest. Oh, so I just wanted to show you this. So did you know, I mean, I saw this tonight on a channel of somebody who I think a lot of, in fact, she's one of my members. So the Maritime Volunteer Service, Fleetwood, have been presented with for their involvement in the search for missing Lancashire woman Nicola Bulley. Now, you know, don't get me wrong, why are you giving a certificate to people who didn't find Nicola Bulley? That's the only thing I'm saying. I've got no criticism of them. I think it's fantastic that they volunteer their time, you know, to help with these sort of issues. But they did not find her, so why did they get a certificate? That's all I would say. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to show you. Lots of crazy things to show you. Oh, so I want to show you what the Lancashire Police's response was to the so this is the Lancashire Police. They welcome the College of Police in case. So let's have a look what they've got to say. They welcome it, though. Welcome it.
Today we'll see the publication of the College of Police's review into our handling of the Nicola Bulley missing person investigation. First and foremost, on behalf of myself and the Constabulary, I want to say that our thoughts are with Nikki's family.
Now, I don't know who this lady is, but would this have been Sally Riley at one time speaking?
At what must be a very difficult time. I hope by reading that report that Nicola's family can see that we did everything we could do to bring Nicola home to them. The report highlights excellent practice when it comes to the response to the incident, to the investigation, to the searches, and to the support that was given to Nicola's family. It also highlights the competence, the compassion, and the commitment of our staff involved in this extensive inquiry. With an incident of this type, there is always learning, and the College of Policing identifies learning both for the constabulary and for policing more widely. And it is my role to ensure now that we take that learning, we embed it, and we make change that is necessary. I would like to thank the College of Policing for their comprehensive review. I'd like to thank the PCC, Andrew Snowden, for commissioning the review. I also want to say a thank you to the communities of Wyre and to Lancashire for their support, and to our staff who worked tirelessly throughout this incident. Finally, again, I would like to say that our thoughts are with Nikki's family.
So there you go. That's the Lancashire Police's response to the, you know, and that, I think that lady is probably who would have been Sally Riley talking, but she's, you know, so Rebecca's retired. She's probably glad to get away from it all. I don't know what's happened to Sally Riley, but I would say that that's her replacement there. So that was another thing I wanted to just show you. There's a lot of little things I want to show you, big things I want to show you. Where am I going now? So I've got so many things. Okay, so let's go to Peter, who's now saying, now what we mustn't forget as well, before, you know, I have respected Peter for a long time. I have made many videos saying how I would put my trust in him before I put my trust in anyone. That's why it feels so much worse today to hear him saying all these things. Now, don't forget it was Peter who said, oh, if only the police would have told me that, you know, she had high vulnerability, she was high risk, I would have done the search differently. He was supposed to be coming back to do a land search. Why was he coming back to do a land search if he'd already seen her in the water? You know, I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. And the more I think about it, the more I see into it, it's just awful. And if this, as I say, if this would have been my daughter, I would be so angry with the way he's now saying this, you know. And anyway, never mind. Let's have a look at what actually he said, his own words. Now, I'm sorry, this is Dan Wootton. He's not my favourite person, but that's where he said it.
And I'm happy to do a test at any time to prove that she couldn't have gone into that.
Here we go.
But forensic search and rescue specialist Peter Faulding, who selflessly joined the underwater search for the 45-year-old, says he's been made a scapegoat for the force's failings. And former Met Police Senior Detective Simon Harding says the blame lies firmly with the police, who he believes have let down Nicola's family with a string of mistakes and unanswered questions during the case. I'm delighted to be joined by both Peter and Simon now. So, Peter, let me start with you, because your reputation has been on the line here, and you feel like you are being made a scapegoat today.
Absolutely, Simon. I mean, Dan, sorry. The police have been searching this river for 3 weeks with divers, with side scan sonar, the same equipment as we had, and river search teams plus dogs. And Nicola has not been found. We searched that part of the river, the lower part of the river, for just 4 hours. And I can categorically say that from our sonar footage, which I've since reviewed, Nicola was not laying on the riverbed. I can't see into the reeds. I want to make that very clear. And I've always said that to the media. We cannot see into the reeds, but we can see what's under the boat. And I've got a crystal clear image of the actual riverbed.
Okay, but you never specifically searched that part of the river where she was found?
Yes, we did, Dan. We trawled like the police every day with our sonar. They did with their sonar, and there was no sign of Nicola on the under the water, I should say, not in the reeds.
So did you just hear that? What he actually said with his own words. Well, let's listen to it again. So, you know, for those of you who think I'm criticising Peter, or Peter can't criticise because he's some perfect person, let's just listen to this.
our sonar, they did with their sonar, and there was no sign of Nicola under the water, I should say,
No
not in the
sign.
reeds. Our remit was not searching the riverbank or the reeds. I want to make that clear. So we ran the sonar down on day one, down about 2 or 3 miles down that river, and we never saw no sign of Nicola, as did the police for the last 3 weeks with their sonar device either.
So do you think the police searched the reeds and the riverbeds properly?
I can't really comment because I wasn't on that search, but all I can say is we searched upstream where the bench was, where I actually said there's no way she gone in the river.
No way has she gone in the river. We searched where the bench was.
At this point by the bench, it's too shallow, and she wouldn't have drowned at that point, and she would not have got washed under the weir. And I can say that and I'm happy to do a test at any time to prove that she couldn't have gone in at that point.
Right, let's just listen to that again. Or anyone who's critical of me for criticising. I'm not the one who said this. Peter said this.
And she would not have got washed under the weir. And I can say that and I'm happy to do a test at any time to prove that she couldn't have gone in at that point.
Okay, because obviously what people are trying to work out, Peter, is was Nicola Bulley in the river the entire time and not picked up by your search and by the police search, or was she potentially put back into the riverbed?
Well, you know, I don't want to start speculation. There is a potential. It's on a corner. It's a perfect deposition site, and it's right next to a wall. That is a possibility, but I don't want to spark speculation on that.
He doesn't want to spark speculation, but of course he did spark speculation. I am actually incandescent with Peter now. And you know what? Peter's worse because we trusted Peter. Listen to what he's saying. I don't want to start speculation, but it's a good deposition site. And now he's saying he knew all the time she was in the river. It's just
but she was not in the river the day we searched. But the thing is, we're tied.
What about where she was found specifically? What about where she was found specifically? Had you specifically? I know you didn't look into the reeds in the riverbed, but the riverbed, did you specifically search there?
Yes, we drove past it with a sonar. It was crystal clear. Nothing.
crystal clear.
And absolutely no sign. Okay.
No sign. I would see.
No sign.
I would see a body extremely clearly on our sonar without fail.
Okay.
Well, now he's saying he did see a body, but he didn't feel like telling anybody about it. Or he told the police, but he's saying the police, I don't know, cocked up or whatever. Ooh, this guy, sorry, it's gone for me, this guy. They're trusting him.
Well, look, stand by. Former Met Police Senior Detective Simon Hart.
Okay, so that's one time that he said that Nicola was definitely not in the river. Now, I hope you can understand why I'm angry with Peter. You know what? I think I'm actually angrier with Peter than I am with the police because I trust in Peter. I've made so many videos extolling the virtues of Peter Faulding. And now it's like when you find out someone's got feet of clay, you know, it's like that. The person that you trusted and you respected, now suddenly you're thinking, oh my God. And if I was Nicola's family, her parents especially in that, I would be fuming. I can't even tell you how fuming. So he's saying that he knew really early on what he's saying now, and he left that family in torment for another 2 weeks. Okay. This is another one.
So what we did, if we had had that information, I would have treated it as any other.
Every hour at the top this morning on Breakfast to that terrible story about Nicola Bulley, the mother who disappeared over 3 weeks ago now on the 27th of January. Much criticism aimed at Lancashire Police over the last 48 hours. This search, well, this whole case started with them saying they believed that Nicola had fallen into the river. From there, much work was done. Wednesday came the bombshell that, in fact, there was vulnerabilities about her, a hurried press conference saying problems with alcohol due to perimenopause. The family have been bombarded. The area was never cordoned off. Lancashire police have reported themselves to the police watchdog, the Home Secretary Suella Braverman getting involved yesterday and saying this is just not acceptable. The family have now hit out appalling speculation and said that they have had the most difficult time. One of the most interesting people over this entire sad event has been Peter Faulding, a forensic search and rescue expert who went up there and did the dive and said her body is not in the river. His reaction to the news that they knew, the police, that she had vulnerabilities. We've played it all morning. I thought it a good idea to get him on. Peter, welcome to Talk Breakfast. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Jeremy. Thanks for having me back.
No, thank you. Let's just nail this. You said to me last night, if you had known as an expert that Nicola Bulley had significant issues that meant that the police labelled her high risk, if they had told you that...
Bear in mind, he's supposed to have seen her body by now. So, you know, this, I'm sorry, I think he's self-serving. I don't think he's like, you know, worse than the police. I think they're all self-serving. This is a battle of egos now. He's trying to prove that he's in the right. The police are trying to prove that they're in the right. They're all trying to prove that they're in the right, and nobody cares about Nicola or her girls or her mum and dad or her family. Nobody cares what happened to her. He's just now concerned. That, in my eyes, and honestly, I don't say that lightly because I've supported Peter. You know, my chatters, I know there's a lot of people on here tonight. Some of you maybe haven't watched all my videos or whatever. There's a lot of you on here tonight. I have supported Peter all the way through. But now I'm thinking, come on, you're turning around now and saying that you always knew she was there. Of course you did. Well, listen to this.
Your search, your teams would have adopted a different strategy. Can you expand on that a bit, Pete?
Yes, I will, Jerry. We were tasked with, we went up there to search, and we were tasked by Lancashire Police, by the police search advisor, and we were taken to the scene where the bench was, the phone, and I looked down in the bank and I thought, well, it's only 2 feet deep here. She's not going, it was only a foot last week. If she fell in here, she's not going to drown.
So he looked in, it's only 2 feet deep. It was only 1 foot last week. So if she fell in here, she's not going to drown. I'm not saying this. Anyone who's going to attack me and say, I don't know what I'm talking about, Peter Faulding is saying this, not me. So, you know, listen.
And I was just baffled by it. And I couldn't get my head around how she'd managed not to be located by police divers who searched it on the day. So what we did, if we had had that information, I would have treated it as any other high-risk misper, where potentially she could have wandered off down the bank, either just wandered off somewhere else with somebody on her own into the woods surrounding land. But all we had was, we believe she's gone in the river here, and that was it. And there was no talk of, you know, alcohol problems or anything. And you,
yeah, nothing to do with me. I'm not crap at my job.
Treat it totally different. I assumed that Nicola may have drowned.
Can I ask you a question that keeps going round in my head, Pete? And you have faced a barrage of criticism from people saying that you've done this out of self-interest. You've repeatedly said, I'm just trying to help out. Did the police ask you and your team? Did Lancashire Police say, we want you involved? Or was this off your own back? You talked then about your contact, because you were very supportive of Lancashire Police 2 weeks ago when we started covering this story. Last night you said, I'm really angry with the way they've dealt with this whole saga.
Right, Jeremy, we get many calls because, I'll make it clear, we cover police diving for Essex, Kent, Surrey, Sussex, Thames Valley and Hampshire Police Forces. We are the official underwater search team, so highly credible. We got lots of calls to our control room to offer help. Eventually, we reached out to the family, said that we've got a lot of experience, we can help. They then went to Lancashire Constabulary, and then later on a meeting was held, and they agreed to have us up there. They said, as long as you work under us, then that's absolutely fine. And that was it. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not being critical of general police officers because I work with them all the time. They're there for the greater good. They do a good job. But there's obviously always 2%, as I call the 2% club in this world, who let down everybody else. And it's their comms team
Absolutely.
who badly let them down on this.
I mean, a complete PR disaster. It transpired 48 hours ago that Nicola, the family home, was visited on the 10th of January, a full 17 days before she disappeared.
Oh, something else I want to mention, just to let you know, I'm not having, don't get wrong, I'm not just slagging off Peter in this video. I've got a lot to say about the Lancashire Police as well. Do you know, in that press conference, they never even mentioned that, you know, sometimes I think, is this deliberate, this bombshell that he's coming out with? I'd like to know when that interview was made, because, and has somebody been used to drop this bombshell to distract us from the fact that nobody even mentioned the 10th of January and the issues with Nicola having to go to the A&E the following day and stuff. That has not been mentioned today. The whole sort of scenario, the whole thing about today has been about the Peter Faulding bombshell. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is this all deliberate to distract us from everything else? You know, something happened to Nicola. Somebody, in my opinion, I do think that somebody killed Nicola. I don't believe it was an accident. I don't believe she did it to herself. But I don't know what happened. I really don't know. So, but is this like a distraction? Because now we're all talking about Peter Faulding, and we're not talking about the fact that the police report, nobody even mentioned the domestic issues and the welfare check on the 10th of January. It wasn't even mentioned, and we'll see that, because I hope you've all got lots of provisions in, because you're going to be, if you stick with it, I know people will come and go, but if you stick with me, I've got so much to show you. You've got the anyway, let's listen to the end of this.
A significant issue, we're told, police, medical professionals, that's still being investigated. So the police would have known that that was in the background. What frustrates me, and I can't get anybody to answer this, is why would they come out on the 27th, 28th, 29th, whenever, and say, we believe she's in the river? If they had in the back of their mind this information which would purport to tell us.
Can I just say something as well? He didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement. You'll see in a minute when I read out his own statement, he refused to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So it's not true that he hasn't been able to talk till now. He's spoken now because it's got the maximum impact. He's thinking of himself. He's not thinking of Nicola. Nobody is thinking of Nicola. Please, let us remember, this is about Nicola. It's not about Peter Faulding's reputation. It's not about the Lancashire Police. It's not about anyone except Nicola.
She could have left voluntarily the area. She could have been taken by somebody. And you said it last night. That really frustrated you because you were doing something for what you believed was the right reasons, and you were not given the information you needed. So I know you're not out to criticise the police, but you're right. Yeah. An absolute PR shambles, Pete.
Yeah, this has come down from the top level, Jeremy. Someone has said, do not hand this information to the... Look, there's a lot of egos here. Egos on every job. And I've spoken about this for a long time.
He's just said exactly what I've said. It's all about egos. He's trying to prove that he's reputable because he's got his reputation to defend. Lancashire Police are trying to prove that they're reputable because they've got their... Nobody gives a shit about what happened to Nicola. And honestly, if you can't see that, and if you think that I'm not talking about anyone personally, if anyone can't see that this is about Peter Faulding defending his reputation, Doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. What happened to Nicola? They should be joining together to find out what happened to Nicola, not arguing between themselves about who saw, you know, you know what date it is today? It's the 21st of November. He's known about this since February and he has said nothing. Not because he was supposed to not say anything, not because he's had to sign it. He says himself that he did not sign anything. He has, for whatever reason, he's come out today because he knew that this College of Policing report slags him off left, right and centre. He's come out today to try and dampen it down. And his mate, Mark Williams Thomas, they're like good friends. He said in that interview that he did, oh, I've got a friend who's an ex-policeman. That's Mark Williams Thomas. You know, they're like, he's trying to salvage his reputation at the moment.
We turn up at a job, they know that I find people in my team, we get the job done. We average 10 drownings every year, a number of suicides, especially in the Thames Valley and Surrey police area. We get called in and find them, and that's clear. I get called in to look for bodies buried in gardens. I find them, I find weapons, because they know I'm good at my job and my team are excellent. So there's lots of egos playing here, and it will come.
So I'm going to do a video. I'm going to look at what exactly Peter Faulding has found in his career, because I know he helped out on the April case, the little Welsh girl who went missing, but he didn't find her. He helped out on Peter Tobin case. He's helped out on lots of cases, but I'm going to look into it and I'm anyone.
Come out in the IPCC inquiry, whoever instructed the police not to tell us that she was there, Nicola was, where she, you know, about this alcohol issue, it will come out in this inquiry.
The other thing is we have Mark Williams Thomas on, an ex-police officer who's also taken himself up there. One of the big criticisms of the way Lancashire police have dealt with the Nicola Bulley disappearance is, you know, they didn't cordon off the area. Every Tom, Dick and Harry could arrive and take a photo on the bench or whatever. And I put this to you the other night, and I mean it with the greatest respect. The fact that they've got the Mark Williams Thomases up there saying, I'm speaking to the family, I'm speaking to the police, this is a debacle, you're saying this, doesn't speak greatly of it, does it? And that, for me, is the real tragedy, because this poor bloody family, Peter, are going through hell, and now they've had to go through a media hell.
Now, I have to admit something here. Jeremy Kyle has always been a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, but it's true what he's saying. At the end of the day, he's trying to defend his reputation. The police are trying to defend their reputation. He's playing now into, he started off all this conspiracy theory. Nobody knows what to think now, because everybody was thinking, oh, Nicola definitely wasn't in the river, because he said she definitely wasn't in the river. And now he's saying, oh, yes, she was in the river. Can you not see what I'm saying?
People are saying to me, well, stop talking about it. We're talking about it because we're trying to do what we can. You have to tell people what's going on. But the police, the police's performance has been far from impressive.
Unfortunately, this is the woke world we live in now. People frightened to actually speak out. I will speak out, and I just find it all the time.
I will speak out, yeah, but not till November. Not speaking out right now because I've got a holiday to go and I've got a book to publish.
I'm on police inquiries now. People are fed up with the way it's all being conducted these days. You know, it's they're frightened of their own shadows these days. Unfortunately, Jeremy.
What do you say?
Needs to speak up.
So right now, I'm going to read you something that's a criticism, and I'm going to do it for a reason. Dave says, Peter Faulding is now undermining any hope of him and his team doing anything like this again. He should have been forced to sign an NDA. He is now bad-mouthing the very police that he says he wants to work with in the future. What would your response to that be, Peter?
Well, actually, I'll say to Dave that I'm not bad-mouthing the police at all. In every interview, the police, in my mind, I work with them, are highly regarded. I'm a trusted expert. I suggest Dave do a bit of my background and see some of the cases and the families I've helped over the years who have never, their loved ones would never have been found without my team. We are highly regarded. I've lots of police ringing me, say you're doing a wonderful job. And we took, look, let's get up there. The police didn't even have a toilet on site. They were asking to use our toilet in our command centre. They were left urinated.
Well, the police didn't have a toilet on site. They were asking to use his toilet.
In bushes because they had nowhere to go. This is the problem. There's no investment. And I'm going to speak out today because this makes me really angry. People haven't.
I go along with that. I've said that right from the beginning. As you know, I do think the police resources are starved. I do think that. I do agree with him there.
They go at me, but we are the people who come in to assist. That's why we're used. I mean, if people don't want to use us, then people will be left in the river. But we are a highly regarded team in the UK. We get the job done, and we are highly professional.
And I will add, I absolutely will say this because I've spoken to Peter for 2 weeks and he has taken a barrage of criticism. The fact of the matter is, at no point, you have always said that it's the comms. You have always said since this came out that it's the PR. And of course, there will be people who will say, stop talking about it. But the point of the matter is, and I have to say, Nicola Thorpe did it so brilliantly on my show last night because she said, the real issue here, and her parents live in the area, her mother was part of the search. She said, the community wants to help, but they have been led, excuse the pun, down a garden path by just ridiculous pieces of information coming out willy-nilly from the police. The community...
Sorry, can I just say something as well? When he says he saw by the sonar that there was someone like down, how deep is that river? It's not deep, is it? Anywhere. He said himself it's only a foot or 2 feet or 3 feet or whatever. You know, down. He needs to release those sonar images. If he wants to be believed, in my eyes, release those sonar images.
Is frustrated. The media is frustrated. The family must be going through hell. And several people who have been asked, like you, to task their skills also. Just very quickly, what happens next? We want for the family an answer. Overnight, Mr. Lawson, the Deputy Chief Constable, said that resources will have to be scaled back very soon. I mean, that's another heart-shattering blow to Paul and his daughters, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, Jeremy, in the world we live in, the police haven't got the resources. It's a lot of things being cut. I mean, look, there's no underwater search teams down. We cover the whole of the southeast. The Met are there. The next nearest underwater search unit is Nottingham, Herts, Bedfordshire, Cambridge. No one has the resources. They've all gone, and people don't realise this. But I'd want to say I've got the greatest respect for the police. It's the comms piece here is the bad thing, and whoever's made these decisions need to be dealt with.
Peter Faulding, I really, really appreciate your time once again. Peter Faulding, forensic search and rescue expert.
Okay, so whatever you think, I think you've just got to remember. I know nobody wants to think badly of Peter Faulding, and I don't blame him because I don't. I've supported him all the way from day one. I've believed Peter. But now I'm thinking, I don't like these things that he's saying. I'm sorry, never mentioned it before. Anyway, let's have a look at his interview with Martin Brunt on Sky News. This is the interview he did with Martin Brunt on Sky News.
So
just
you
today.
found what you believe.
So this is his interview today. So this is him now trying to defend himself because now the reports come out today. That's why he's doing it, because the reports come out. And when we're going to read the report and we're going to read his statement about the report, and you'll see he knows that they're not happy with him, and that's why he's doing this.
Was Nicola.
Yes.
What did you do after that?
Well, I immediately at 10:53, we found the target at 10:34, 10:53 on the 7th. I sent that to the police.
Oh, so suddenly he's got exact times, 10:53, 10:54. We found the target. He's never mentioned this before. Come on.
Search advisor included an image, and I asked him if we could dive this target immediately. And he said, no, you are not to dive. We are to dive it. So we had to wait 2 or 3 hours for the police dive. They got there at 1:15. They were working elsewhere. They dived the target. We carried on upriver, trying not to draw attention to the media. and they dived it and come back and said it's nothing. But
What did you?
So he's saying there, now listen to what he's saying. He's saying they dived and they came back and said it's nothing. So what he's saying is they dived, said it was nothing, but they were just dived where? How deep is this river? You know, so they dived. If someone says to me, oh, well, they dived, I'm thinking it's at least 6 foot. But he's already said it's between 1, 2, 3 foot deep. So where did they dive? So what he's saying is they dived, they came back up and just felt like lying about it and saying, no, there's nobody there. I don't believe that. Maybe you believe it and you are entitled to believe it, and I won't criticize you for believing it, but don't criticize me for not believing it. I don't believe it.
You think of that at the time?
well, I was baffled and my team were baffled, but I went home that night and I said, come back the following morning. I said to the police sergeant, we need to dive this target. We need to go and have another look at this. I want to also search the weir. He said, you're not diving. You're not doing it. No.
So he's literally accusing the police of telling him not to do it. Let's just listen to that again, actually. Let's go back to the beginning.
And so you found
Yeah.
what you believe was Nicola.
Yes.
What did you do after that?
Well, I immediately at 10:53, we found the target at 10:34, 10:53 on the 7th. I sent that to the police search advisor, including an image, and I asked him if we could dive this target immediately. And he said, no, you are not to dive. We are to dive it.
Sorry,
So we had to wait 2 or 3 hours for the police dive. They got there at 1:15. They were working elsewhere. They dived the target. We carried on upriver, trying not to draw attention to the media. And they dived it and come back and said it's nothing. But
what did you think of that at the time?
Well, I was baffled and my team were baffled, but I went home that night and I said, come back the following morning. I said to the police sergeant, we need to dive this target. We need to go and have another look at this. I want to also search the weir. He said, you're not diving. You're not doing it. No. Well, I've had my reputation damaged now. You know, I was removed from the National Crime Agency database with no reason. I was publicly discredited, and I want the public to know that I've not knocking the police here and other forces I work with, but this something's not right here, and this
not knocking the police, but of course he is, and he's right. Something's not right here, but he's not right because he's only just saying this now. Please remember back to the other videos that I've showed you where he was saying definitely not in the
needs
water.
to be.
Even if he was worried about saying anything, he did not have to say that. He just had to say nothing. He specifically said on many occasions, no, she's definitely not in the river. Many occasions, not just once. I can think of maybe at least 5, if not 10 times he said she was definitely, on different interviews. We've just watched a couple of them. I could be here all night trying to show you them, but I've got so much to get through. So bear that in mind. It's not only that he didn't say anything, he specifically said she was not there. So honestly, God, I feel really hurt about Peter Faulding. I've supported him right from day one and believed everything he said. And now suddenly it's like, what?
Clear that this is without doubt Nicola. And Nicola, if
without doubt
we'd done the job properly on day one, if it was done properly with the right expertise, Nicola would have been found.
Yeah, because he said he'd found her within a couple of hours on day one that he was there. Anyway, so I'm sure you'll all tell me what you think, but you know what? If you don't say it respectfully, you're gone. We're having a debate here. You have your opinions. I've got my opinions. If you don't agree with me, that's fine, but we don't get nasty. We don't get nasty to other people. We just, we just are this. We just have our discussion, our debate. What do you think? Watch the evidence. Watch the videos. Okay, sorry, I've got so let's go to the next thing. See, some people, they just can't accept the evidence of their own eyes. He said that. I'm not saying it. He said it. That was him who said it. What's wrong with people that they cannot watch the evidence of their own eyes? But anyway, so what we're going to look at now are a couple of things that people, that were like the newspapers, of course, have attacked him now, the mainstream media, and I'm not necessarily agreeing with that. I don't necessarily agree with that. As I say, for many months, I've respected Peter Faulding, but I do not respect what he's come out with today. I'm sorry, I don't, because I just imagine if I was that mother and father, you know, who had spent that extra 2 weeks worrying about what had happened to my daughter, and then suddenly I find out that, oh yeah, he's saying he knew. It's rubbish. Sorry, it is rubbish. Anyway, so this is the Sun. Now they've got bad things to say, obviously. Now there's a bit of an attack here going on. I can see that happening, and you know, he's been slammed in this report. He's bizarre, and it is bizarre because he didn't claim at the time. I don't know why people can't see that, but anyway, he claims he found Nicola Bulley's body after just 6 minutes of searching, but police ignored him. Now they're calling him the so-called diving expert. I do think they're going for him. Don't get me wrong, I'm not agreeing with anyone. I think they're all wrong. What we should be focusing on, what happened to Nicola. Do people care about what happened to Nicola, or do they care about the police's reputation, or do they care about Peter's reputation? I don't care about either of them. I care about what happened to Nicola, and if people can't see that, I just don't know. I just don't understand it, to be honest, because you know, he had said himself, we've just watched the videos where Peter, sorry Peter, but you said yourself she was not in the water. Okay, so that was the Sun attacking him. There's been other newspapers attacking him. What I'm going to look at now is his own statement. Okay, so we're going to look at his own statement about what happened, and I'm going to read it out to you. So this is the press statement that Peter made himself. So I'm not making it up. No one's making it up. It's not the Sun newspaper. It's not any newspaper. This is the Specialist Group International, his own press statement that's available to look at on, you know, on Google. Anyone can find it. So he begins with saying his thoughts remain with the family, etc. So this statement has been made in response to the release of the College Policing Review. This has been coming. He's been waiting for this. Mark Williams Thomas let him know this was coming out. He's recorded that video that he made months ago. He hasn't just recorded that today, yesterday, last week. He's recorded it months ago. He's been expecting to say that. Anyway, he goes into who he is and his fantastic experience, and he's been conducting successfully forensic search operations, etc. Now, I think we need to remember it wasn't the police. I think, you know, it wasn't the police that brought him in. It was Paul and Emma, wasn't it? Do you remember? We've watched videos all the time. They asked him to come in and help. So there's obviously a lot of conflict between this. So anyway, he's saying on Monday the 6th, February 2023, the SGI underwater search team and I arrived in St. Michael's to assist in the search for Nicola Bulley. And we were initially tasked by Lancashire Police to search the tidal section of the River Wyre, blah, blah, blah. sorry, I can't read it all out because I'll be here all day. And he says they were tasked to search the non-tidal section of the River Wyre above the weir in an area I would class as the hot zone. This is the area in front of the bench down to the weir. Now, bear in mind, in one of those other interviews, he said that she wasn't there. But anyway, from experience, if Nicola had entered the water here, this is the area where she would most likely be found. So he's saying they commenced the search at 10:28, and 6 minutes later, I identified a significant target that appeared, from my experience, to take human form. Now, I really want to swear here because I hope Nicola's parents are not reading this, because if she was my daughter and I was reading this and he's saying that within 6 minutes he identified a target, but then later he went on to say she was definitely not in the river, I would be fuming. 75 metres downstream from the bench. So later he was advised that the target was found to be nothing. Now he's saying this baffled him, but he didn't say anything at the time. Now, this all now comes down to the fact of whether you believe that the police really, honestly, would say that a target was nothing if they found that it was something, or did they just not go down to find it? You know, it's possible. It's possible that they did not search it properly. It's possible. But what I'm saying about Peter is he should have talked about this earlier. Now, he's saying on Wednesday, 8th of February, he made a request that we rescan the same area. And then he's saying, leading up to the inquest and the revelation, he says, I assumed I would be invited to the inquest. I revisited, analysed and enhanced every solar file recorded. Now, see, I've read before and I've heard him interviewed and saying he looked over all those, you know, when people have said to him, are you sure there was nobody in the river? Are you sure Nicola wasn't in the river? No, he said, I've revisited all the thing and said definitely not in the river. Now he's saying he revisited it and she was in the river. I don't believe, you know, I'm so sorry. I don't want to upset anybody, but you know, I just say what I think. Don't have to agree with me. Make your own mind up. But I'm just saying what I think. And if you take offence to it, I'm sorry, but I cannot be anything more than myself. So yes, suddenly, without a doubt, this was Nicola, he now tells us, on the 21st of November. And he says he clearly saw Nicola's body lying in a fetal position on her right side, legs bent. I would have presented my findings to the coroner's inquest, but I was not invited to it. My next opportunity would be to present the findings to the College of Policing review team. That's rubbish. He could have presented those findings to anyone at any time. So he sat on that. Is he going to show those? I presume he is. If he shows it and it's proof, but it's still, it wouldn't matter if tomorrow he presented those findings as absolute proof. What to me would still be my question: why have you only been you're only presenting it now? Why? Anyway, so he sat on all that till the 5th of September, said nothing to anybody. And then it makes you wonder, did he even look at it before then? But anyway, he said he did. So he was asked to attend this review meeting, etc. And he was asked a total of 4 times to sign an NDA. Now, so people who have said to me, answered to, well, I haven't answered to any comments. I just can't do it because there's so many of them. And I know I'm going to end up upsetting somebody. But he says, this is him. I'm presenting what he said. I'm not presenting what I'm saying. I'm presenting what he said. He says, I was asked a total of 4 times to sign an NDA, which I refused. So he did not sign an NDA. So, although I had no intention of releasing any information before the report was published, well, perhaps he should have done, I did not want to put myself in a position where I would be unable to publicly tell the facts of the search or in the future or disclose to the coroner if requested. Now, he says he sent, listen, this is what he says. Well, he says the meeting was cut off, and then he goes on to say His Majesty's Coroner, Dr. James Aidley, was sent a copy of the same information with a cover letter by recorded delivery showing the sonar targets and offering to meet him in person to show the data. I have never received an acknowledgement or reply from him. Now, we know that Mr. Aidley is not like, brilliant at replying to things, even recorded delivery things. But there you go. But why he should have come out with it before? He should have come out with it at the inquest. If that would have been me, I would have been stood outside the inquest with those pictures on a board. I mean, he's not being. Anyway, never mind. So, as I say, I can't read all this to you because it goes on and on. It's very technical, but you can find this online, the press statement of Peter Faulding, Specialist Group International. He queries the experience of the experts, which I query, we've all queried. And then he goes on to say, how did Nicola end up in her final resting place on the 19th of February? So he's saying about the decomposition gases inside her body built up enough to float her to the surface. Now, let's bear in mind what he's saying here is she was always in the river. So any of you who are out there who thought, oh, she wasn't in the river and she was put in later, not according to Peter. Now, she wasn't in the river before, but now he's saying she was in the river. So any conspiracy theory you had that she was not in the river and she was put in the river later, this is proving that she was in the river all the time. It's like going back to square one. Let's start again. It needs an independent public inquiry with all this information. Yeah, and now he's saying, from the tidal information and the predictions by experts, it was anticipated that the weekend of 18th, 19th of February might become significant in the search to find Nicola. So now he's saying, you people who don't like me criticising Peter Faulding, he's saying now that that's round about the 18th of 19th of February, that's when she should have popped up. Oh, here we go. Release of the images and live sonar data. For ethical reasons and out of respect for the family, I will not be releasing any images or live sonar data to members of the public. In other words, what he means is he hasn't got any evidence. Peter, if you have evidence, release it. Because you saying that, I don't believe you. And there'll be a lot of people who don't believe you. And anyone who believes you without evidence, I'm sorry, it's not right. I will make no further comment. But then he went on a YouTube channel and he went on Sky News. Do you know, I'm sorry, Peter, I have supported you right from the beginning of this. I've always been on your side until now. I am really, really, and I think a lot of people very upset at the way you have betrayed Nicola and her family. Okay, in my eyes. You don't agree, that's fine, don't agree. If you've got evidence, give the evidence. Where's the evidence? We've been asking for evidence since the beginning of this case. We've never had. That's what we were criticising the coroner for. No evidence. Now you're telling us that you've got evidence, but you're not going to release it. Release it, Peter. If you want us to believe you, release the evidence. You know, that's my idea. Okay, now, so what's the next thing I want to show you? Evidence. You need evidence. I could say anything on here. I could say, oh, this happened or that happened. I haven't got any evidence. Oh my God, why can't it, you know, if you haven't got, so you can say, oh, I saw this and I did this, and you don't provide any evidence, whatever. Sorry, makes me angry. It makes me angry because it's Nicola. It's not about you, Peter. It's not about your reputation. It's not about Andrew Snowman's reputation. It's not about anybody's reputation. Who was right, who was wrong. It's about what happened to Nicola Bulley. Okay, so here's another one.
Difference between what you are able to do and what has been involved in the search up to this point, Peter?
Well, Jeremy, the police have done a brilliant job so far with the resources they've got. We bring another dive team, the same as the police, because we cover the whole of the southeast for police diving. So we have the same equipment as them. They have a sonar. I think ours is slightly higher frequency than their sonar, but we're all doing the same job and working to one end, really. We covered large areas of ground today jointly. They searched further down the river. We've been searching another part of the river, but at the moment there's nothing to see, I'm afraid.
So no developments. You've done this for a long, long time, and I just want to deliver the truth as best as we can. What is your gut feeling? Do you think that this poor lady is in the river? Are you planning to continue this search for a number of more days? What's the mindset, Pete?
Yeah, well, it's a baffling one, Jeremy. I was talking to the police this afternoon, and with the police search advisors, we went to the bench where, you know, Nicola disappeared, was supposedly where a mobile phone was found, and the police divers were on scene that afternoon. By the days she went missing, they were in the water searching. The river is not moving fast, and after 24, 25 years of doing this type of work and hundreds of cases, I am totally baffled, because the divers, normally you would expect, put a diver in. People, if they drown, they generally go down where they are. We normally find them within sort of 5 to 10 meters of where they went down, even after a few days. This is the most baffling case I've ever worked on.
You've been widely reported, Peter, as saying that the investigation was a mess and that you're baffled. Do you imply from that, and I'm simply asking the questions, do you not believe she's in that river? Do you think there's something else here? We have to be so careful because all these conspiracy theories have been thrown around. What's your professional opinion, Peter?
Well, yeah, well, just first, I never said that the thing was a mess. That was misquoted. There's a lot of speculation from everywhere. The police have done a brilliant job so far. It's a lot. They've got nothing to go on. That's the problem. All they've got, Jeremy, is a mobile phone at the moment. I said that it possibly could be a decoy. I worked on a case called Lorna Torn up in Scunthorpe. We found a shoe by the river. We were called in to search the river, but the actual shoe was laid there by the murderer. She was found.
Can I just say something there? Thank you, Funky, for the super chat. And I want to address your question. He was allowed by law. He refused to sign the non-disclosure agreement. He just said that himself. I've just read that out. That was his own statement. He was allowed to by law. It's not true. I'm sorry, Funky. I know. I've got a lot of respect for you. You've been on my channel for a long time, but it's not true. You just listen to him now, what he's saying. It's not true. He's now trying to salvage his reputation. He doesn't care about Nicola. He's not even mentioned Nicola, to be honest. It's all about his own trying to
Miles away,
salvage his
buried in
own
a haystack.
reputation.
So this is
Sorry. Let me just go back again a bit.
Time.
Listen.
And I just want to deliver the truth as best as we can. What is your gut feeling? Do you think that this poor lady is in the river? Are you planning to continue this search for a number of more days? What's the mindset, Pete?
Yeah, well, it's a baffling one, Jeremy. I was talking to the police this afternoon, and with the police search advisors, we went to the bench where, you know, Nicola disappeared, was supposedly where a mobile phone was found, and the police divers were on scene that afternoon. By the days she went missing, they were in the water searching. The river is not moving fast, and after 24, 20.
Listen to what Peter's saying. The water is not fast moving. How deep would he have had to dive down? If he thought he saw a body, he said God, I just have to keep repeating this because he said the water was between 1 foot and 3 foot deep. He said she could not have drowned there. He said it, and now he's saying about the police were there on the right day, on the same day, and they would have found her. No, you know, this is what he was saying in February. Now, later on in November, suddenly he saw her. He saw her. She was there. He saw her, but he just didn't say anything. Makes me really angry. I'm sorry.
5 years of doing this type of work,
I'm not
and
sorry.
hundreds of cases, I am totally baffled because the divers, normally you would expect, put a diver in. People, if they drown, they generally go down where they are. We normally find them within sort of 5 to 10 meters of where they went down, even after a few days. This is the most baffling case I've ever worked on.
You've been widely reported, Peter, as saying that the investigation was a mess and that you're baffled. Do you imply from that, and I'm simply asking the questions, do you not believe she's in that river? Do you think there's something else here? We have to be so careful because all this conspiracy theories have been thrown around. What's your professional opinion, Peter?
Well, yeah, well, just first, I never said that the thing was a mess. That was misquoted. There's a lot of speculation from everywhere. The police have done a brilliant job so far. It's a lot. They've got nothing to go on. That's the problem. All they've got, Jeremy, is a mobile phone at the moment. I said that it possibly could be a decoy. I worked on a case for law.
Yeah, it could be a decoy. So, hi, Shelley. I just want to say I know you care about Nikki. This is what I was saying earlier. This is all about Nikki, not about his ego, not about the Lancashire Police's ego. All this that he's saying now, he's saying now that he saw Nikki in the water all that time ago. Now we're looking back at the actual interviews he gave. It's rubbish. He's saying, oh, he respects the police, this, that, and the other. This guy is not a good guy. Honestly, the more I look at it, the more I feel bad about him. He's a liar. And he's now saying he'll make no further comment, but he's gone out and made loads of comments, let everybody worry about it all again. And all the conspiracy theories are going to come out again. He does not care about Nicola or her family.
Torn up in Scunthorpe, we found a shoe by the river. We were called in to search the river, but the actual shoe was laid there by the murderer. She was found miles away, buried in a haystack. So this is a totally odd thing. Whether it's a plant, there could be a third party involved, I don't know. But the only evidence we've got to go on at the moment is the mobile phone down the river. And really, that's all we can go. There is much investigation. You know, they're doing great work in the background, the detectives and the police at the river here. But it's a case that will to, you know, give closure to the family.
And for you, I guess most of what you're doing is getting rid of possibilities, trying to tick things off, and it must be. I mean, I guess you don't want to be successful. I don't mean that also in the wrong way. You don't really want to, obviously. I have to say, you've 5 years. you kindly offered your services and your search team services for free. Why was this case so important to you, Peter?
Yeah. It's one of these cases that dragged on, and we, I see a grieving family. I've done this with, other cases like Ellis Downs case in the past where we've recovered the drowning victims. We get paid by the police normally if we get called in, but this case has been dragging on, and we just decided to get involved like we did with young Ellis. And let's try and find her. We've got the technology, we've got the experience to assist the police, who are already doing a brilliant job. But we can just bring some extra bodies and extra technology to this search, and hopefully.
Look, please listen to what Peter's saying. I have literally, from the word go on the Nicola Bulley case, supported Peter Faulding in everything he said. I believed everything he said. I've respected him. Listen to what he's saying, and then think about what he's saying today, and think about what the reasons are. That's all I'll say. And if you really think that it's the police cover-up, that's fine. Think that. I respect what anyone thinks, but please listen to what he's saying and compare it with what he's saying today. And also think about how you would feel if that was your daughter that he's now saying he saw within 6 minutes of being there, but didn't make a big thing about it, just thought, and told everyone she definitely was not in the river many times. So just think about, that's all I'm saying to people, is think about it.
I don't want to find Nicola. I hope we don't find her, but hopefully the detectives doing the job in the back.
Well, according to him, he'd already found her. Please don't people understand what I'm saying? This is not me who's saying it. It's him saying it himself.
Background can piece this together. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and this is
Goodness
so baffling.
me.
And I was talking to the police tonight. We're all baffled. And, it's a difficult one, a really difficult one.
Somebody was telling me, and I could be factually wrong, but the dog wasn't wet, the collar was off the dog, the ball wasn't wet. It really is a mystery, a macabre mystery, if you like. And you do absolutely get it right when you say you can only think about a partner, a husband, and 2 young girls who, they must be in a terrible, terrible place. But you and the police are doing everything. What is your gut instinct, if you don't mind me asking you? What's your gut instinct, Peter?
Well, I've got total faith in the police dive team. We work with them all the time. So, I think, Jeremy, after I heard today how the police were here so...
No, he's just said he's got total faith in the police dive team. Come on, listen to what he's saying, please.
quickly to search that area where it's believed where Nicola went in. I personally don't think she's in the river.
Don't think she's in the river. That's him saying it, not me, not the police, him.
That's just my gut instinct at this point. I may be proved wrong later.
That's my gut instinct at this point. I may be proved wrong. Right, let's just go back and listen to that again, please. Just listen. This is him saying it, not me, not the police. Him saying himself. Do you know, it's like 1984. It's like people don't believe the evidence of their own eyes and ears. It's just like, oh, no, I don't believe that. I'm not. Look at what he's saying.
What is your gut instinct, if you don't mind me asking you? What's your gut instinct, Peter?
Well, I've got total faith in the police dive team. We work with them all the time. So, I think, Jeremy, after I heard today how the police were here so quickly to search that area where it's believed where Nicola went in, I personally don't think she's in the river. That's just my gut instinct at this point. I may be proved wrong later on, but the police have done...
I personally don't think she's in the river. That's just my gut instinct at the moment. I might be proved wrong later on. Now he's saying that ages before this, within 6 minutes, he thought she was there.
done a fantastic search already with their existing resources, plus their sonar. Now we've got our sonar. We're searching where the bench is tomorrow up the river. So we're going to go back over that area. Not that the police haven't done it, but we're just going to go further up the river tomorrow to try and, you know, rule this river out. And then if Nicola's not here, I do not know. It's just unbelievable.
Peter Faulding, thank you for being on JK Live, and thank you for the work that you're doing
Jeremy.
free of charge. We really do appreciate it. And can I just repeat, the thoughts of this entire nation go out to her family, and, you know.
Okay, so there you go. That's Peter in his own words. Sorry, let me put my camera back on. Oh, gosh. Do you know what? Everyone's saying to me, go back and watch the interview. I've watched the interview. I've watched the interview. He won't show the evidence. Show me the evidence. You know, he can say what he likes. I could say anything. Anyone can say anything on YouTube. Doesn't matter who you are. You can say anything. Where's the evidence? Goodness me. Goodness me. Anyway, right. Let's look at something else. Oh, well, I don't know if we need to look at this now. It's the external review. We've watched, I will do this on another time. I don't think I've got time now to go through everything. Honestly, sometimes I just think, you know, you just got to, you know, look at the evidence, look at what he said himself. And he's not showing any evidence of anything else. He can talk about, oh, well, yeah, I saw this. And then when I got back, I saw the sonar equipment. Where is the sonar evidence? He said in his own statement, he's not going to show it. So look out for a book in the future, then he'll show it, I'm sure. You know, he doesn't want to show it because now he's fighting for his professional reputation. As you know, Lancashire police, they're fighting for their profession. They're trying to discredit him. He's trying to discredit them. They're all passing the ball between them. And at the end of the day, it's Nicola who counts. Who's thinking of Nicola? You know, that's my, you know, this, right, let me show you this. What happened to Nicola? Never mind Peter Faulding, never mind Lancashire police, never mind anything. What happened to Nicola? Did you do? What do you think? Yourself, or was it foul play? Oh, sorry. Something else that I wanted to show you that I need to show you is he's released this picture that supposedly the man in black. I want to show you because this has been on Twitter. It is really creepy, to be honest. So this is because, of course, he started. So we haven't even got as far as the man in black because there was so much to say. Let me see. The man in black who was around while he was searching the water, and he said this man, you know, asked lots of questions. He thought that he got involved too much and blah, 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 blah. That's something we need to look at another time. I mean, it does look really creepy, doesn't it, this figure? And of course, that was mentioned at the inquest. Now he's only just mentioning that now as well. Who is this man in black? I mean, it looks to me a little bit like Ed White, because I've seen pictures of Ed White who was around the scene at the time. Maybe it was him. Maybe it's just something totally innocuous, just some person that was hanging around at the time. You know? Julie, you were timed out because you mentioned the channel. Please don't mention the channels. That's all. I don't want mentioning, you know, the channels. Well, Michelle, it's funny what you say. The policeman. I haven't even got a policeman. I've got a lot of things to say about him, but there's been so many other things going on that I haven't got around to that. So, you know, I want to get around to that, but things keep happening. Pigs, yeah. All I say is, we don't mention other channels. That's all. It's simple, but you know, you can say I saw on another channel, or you know, but just I don't even really like you mention other channels, the names of them, etc. So, well, I've noticed that any video that I've ever seen of the river, there's always loads of men in black. They're normally like fishermen or whatever. They wear black, of course they do, you know. So I don't know if it's anything to do with anything, but you know, I don't know. Do you know what? I just want to know what happened to Nicola. What happened to her? What do you all think? I don't think it was an accident. I think there is some foul play somewhere involved. Is all this a way of just distracting us? So now we're all talking about, you know, the Peter Faulding thing and everything, and we're not talking about the fact that the review, the police review, never even mentioned the welfare check on the 10th of January. Nobody's talking about that. I want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about Peter Faulding now saying that 9 months ago he saw, you know, things that he's not going to provide any evidence for. He just felt like saying it. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what happened to Nicola. Why did she stop posting on social media just before Christmas? Why did she? Why was there a welfare check done on the 10th of January? What happened to her on that morning? That's what I want to talk about. It's funny, isn't it, when people just pop up in your chat? Anyway, so that's what I want to talk about. I just want to know what happened to Nicola. Don't care about Peter Faulding. I honestly don't care whether he was right or Lancashire police were right. I care about what happened to Nicola. Please, can you all remember her? Anyway, I feel like there was another picture that I wanted to show you. Oh yeah. Hang on. Oh, this is the same picture, but it's from further away. I actually personally, I think it's creepier than the picture of him more close up. Look, see him here, sort of in the background here, just standing there. I don't know. It just looks spooky, isn't it? But I'll tell you what, if I ever went walking around that river and I saw a man in black on his like that, I'd like just, oh my God. And you know, the unfortunate thing about this case is it stopped a lot of women. I know, do you know how many emails I get about this case? I get at least, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not thousands, but I get at least, well, between 10 and 20 emails a day about this case with people talking about it. And bearing in mind, that's from February. And local people, women, saying to me, I'm scared to walk around that river anymore because who is this man in black that they keep talking about that's never been identified? So he's mentioned at the inquest. Now Peter Faulding's talking about him. Who is he? Who is he? Just lurking around. So if you were a woman who normally walks your dog on their own, like Nicola did, like a lot of her neighbours did, her friends did, that's going to put you off, isn't it? Because you were walking around there on your own, and then you suddenly see a man in black in the bushes. You're going to be scared. Why has he not been identified, that man in black, from that day? He should have been. He's not come forward. The fisherman didn't come forward. Why? You know, so that's what I would say. Anyway. I think that's it. Nicola's been failed. Whatever you think, what you don't think, whether you believe Peter Faulding is, you know, that's just an ego war for me between Peter and the police about who saw or didn't see or whatever. I think, you know, at the end of the day, whatever you believe, what is the truth? What happened to her? What happened to her? You know, so. So there's a lot. Yeah, he could be just a fisherman there in his black hoodie and his hat and whatever. It could be nothing, you know, nothing suspicious, could he? You know, why he doesn't have to be anything suspicious. But, you know, it makes it suspicious when people don't come forward, that's all. Yeah, he's on the facial recognition test that we did the other day. Oh, dear me. Just funny, you know, everyone's, anyway, never mind. Okay, so thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I'm going, but I'll be back, and we'll be talking about this a lot. And there's a lot to say, and everybody will have their opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, aren't they? But you know, I think if you watch the videos, you talk about someone who said, "Oh no, definitely not in the river," and then turns around and says, "Yeah, I saw her in the river." Oh, thank you, Rio and Ocean Blue. Sorry, I only just saw this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And we want justice for Nicola. That's right. We do not want justice for Peter Faulding or justice for Lancashire Police. We want justice for Nicola. And if one of those men who are always talking about, you know, this, that, and the other, well, maybe they should think about Nicola instead of thinking about their own egos, who was right and who was wrong. Think about this poor woman. You know, what's the justice for her? And honestly, the last thing I'm going to leave you with tonight is something that I said earlier. For those of you like me, maybe similar age to me or whatever, I haven't got a daughter, but it could be my son, I suppose, or whatever. But if you have a daughter and you were thinking your daughter had gone missing, and now 9 months later, someone is coming out and saying, yes, I saw her in the river, you know, but they left you 2 more weeks wondering what had happened to your daughter. I just want you to imagine how angry you would be now. That's how angry I am now. That's how angry I am now. And that's not even my daughter. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just like, it's just a woman that I feel, I think these men, they don't understand, they don't feel the affinity to women. It's all about their own ego and whether they're right, whether they're wrong, whether they're doing well, whether they're not. It's all about them. You know, they need to think about Nicola. And I'm sorry, if they can't see that, well, you know, don't care. It's not about you. It's about Nicola. Okay, so I'm going. Yeah, exactly. You would think about your own daughter. I would think about my nieces, because I don't have a daughter, but I have nieces similar age to Nicola, and it could be them. And I tell you what, if I'd found out that the guy who's supposed to be a professional diver and, you know, Mr. Perfect, who I'd always thought was Mr. Perfect, because I've thought a lot of him right from day one. I've made lots of videos praising him. And then suddenly I find out that all that time, according to him, but he's not going to show the evidence. He's not going to show the evidence. All that time he had known that she was there. I'd be fuming. So there you go. Okay. I'm off. Night, night. I'll see you tomorrow. And yes, we'll keep looking, because we still don't know what happened to Nikki. So all this is a distraction. I don't care about all this. So tomorrow we'll be looking more about what actually happened to Nicola. Start talking about Nicola instead of talking about Peter Faulding or anybody else. Night, night. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And you know what? You don't have to agree with me. You just make your own mind up. And hopefully we can still get on with that. You know, the idea of my channel is we all have different opinions. We debate, we talk about things. I think what I think, you think what you think. But I still love you anyway. Night, night. Adios.